Yeah, but you know the old joke about the Yeki who marries a chassid, and what time did the wedding start?
Right,
It started exactly 2 hours late. Right?
right,
So
right,
so
right.
uh, so we got to be flexible there. But my wife keeps me on track. Okay, again, welcome to everybody. Also, I said hi to everybody except I forgot I didn't see here. Chava also has joined us. So again, good evening. Chava was also nice that we were able to be in Hebron. A number of us this past week. Well, last week. Last week, yeah, last week, right? What day is today? I'm all confused. It was last week, wasn't
Monday, we
it?
were there on Thursday. We were there on
Yeah,
Thursday.
right. It was great. Supposed to be by the Avos and the Imahos last week. A lot of Breslov Hasidim there. For those who were able to go, it was great. Right. So where are we tonight? We are in the Yudalit of Elul, which is the night beginning the 14th of Elul. So almost halfway through Elul. It means basically almost a little over 2 weeks to Rosh Hashanah. I'm thinking probably next week I'm going to hope to have a class next week. No reason I don't think that we should be able to do it next week, but that'll be probably the last class till I'm not sure when. But we'll keep everybody apprised of the situation and so everybody knows what's going on. All right, so this is the Zoom Workshop 9, and I'm calling this Making Merry Melodies. So those of us who grew up in the 60s and 70s know a lot about merry melodies, I suppose, at least if you weren't so religious. So I just decided to kind of coin that phrase because I think it's kind of cute. All right, so I'm trying something a little bit different. I'm having my notes right here on a little bit of a stender on the table. So hopefully I won't have to keep looking down to read so much. It's close to my eyes, but I'm still have my reading glasses on. So hopefully I'll be able to see the camera well enough to make sure I don't veer away from it too far, and also see my notes. So a quick review. What have we covered the past couple sessions? We covered the importance of pointing out, speaking out the good points. We have to look and search and find the good points, not only in ourselves, but also in others. And why? We learned in part last week because basically it's a way to help everybody do tshuva, and also it is the mechanism actually for creating unity. One of the guys in the WhatsApp chat asked a really good question. He brought down this little video from some Rav here in Eretz Yisrael, I'm assuming, and he was talking about the importance of having achdus. But it didn't seem to me that the Rav there in that video explained how. How do you have achdus when you have so many different ideologies and so many different people coming from so many different directions? And so we covered that. So I reminded him that that's what we've been covering in our Zoom workshops. Dafka, the way to create achdus is by pointing out and speaking out and acknowledging the good points, not only in ourselves. That's really important because sometimes we can get ourselves so low we never even think about good points in ourselves. But Dan Adam Lachaf includes ourselves as well as other people. By doing that, that's what gets everybody onto the right pan of the scale. And then as a result of that, everybody is more inspired to do tshuva because their burdens have been alleviated by literally each other, by helping us relieve the burdens, by telling Hashem and if you want to, tell the person themselves that there is a good point there. And even though we learned that even in the Poshei Yisrael, even in the criminals, the really bad rebels and sinners of the nation, even they, I think it's a Mishnah or just a Gemara, says that they're filled with mitzvot, just like Rimon, pomegranate, is filled with seeds. So it's like a huge, huge thing. All right, so that's kind of what we covered last time. Let's jump into continuation of this very important Torah from Likutei Moharan, Reish Pei Beit, which is 282. And now we're into section Gimel, which is Ot Gimel, which is section 3. And I'm just titling it Creating Happy Melody. So I broke this section into 4 little subparagraphs, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you have your notes, if you don't have your notes, just and you want them, you don't have them in front of you, and you need them, just put a little chat there. Tell Ari, please, and he can post it up in the chat group, and then you guys can download it. But I'm assuming your people here actually have it. But if you don't, just ask Ari. All right, let's begin. Reality is na'asin nigunim. So through this, through what? Through what we've been talking about the past couple of sessions. Through judging everybody for merit and finding the good points in everybody, including ourselves. Through this, melodies are made. Now, this is a bit of a deep concept. It sounds kind of silly in a way in the beginning, so we'll need to flesh this out a bit, because it's a very deep spiritual idea. And sometimes when ideas are deep and very mystical, there's a tendency to dismiss them because they don't make a lot of sense to us on a sort of normal basis. But this is what Rabbi Nachman says, that melodies or nigunim are made. Kamavor b'makom acher, which is brought down in another place, and he tells us where that other place is. We're not learning all the different inyanim of this topic, but he tells us you can see this in the Torah called Vahi Miketz, which is Torah number Nun Dalet, which is 54. So if you want to get more into it on your own, you can do that. You can look up Likutei Moharan Part 1, 54, and you can look into the more of this explained, which is not what we're going to do today, because we don't want to look at the mechanics of it. We want to look at the product of it. Bechinat menagein b'kli zemer. In other words, just like he said, which means in the aspect of playing on a musical instrument. Now, he doesn't necessarily mean a musical instrument like a guitar. He's mostly referring to a musical instrument in which you blow into, because the whole idea is it's coming from your mouth. So just as is important to speak out. Remember, we talked about this before, that you have to mechapes and what is it? Mechapes and something else and motzi. What is it? Yeah. Anyway, seek and find, search and seek. That's it. Search and seek. I just forgot the middle word. And find the good points and then speak them out. You have to speak them out. But by speaking them out, that's an aspect of playing in it, blowing into a flute or recorder or something like that, which we'll try to explain the best of my ability. Shehu b'chinat she'melaket haruach tova min haruach nechea atzvut ruach. So that's a bit of a loaded statement, but he's basically saying here that playing in a musical instrument, blowing into like a flute, is an aspect of collecting and selecting out the good spirit, the good ruach, the good wind, the good notes, let's say, from the gloomy, sad, disheartened spirit, which is the spirit of sadness. So you can't look at this necessarily in a physical way, and then you're going to get yourself blocked. Open up your mind to realize we're talking about spiritual ideas, and we're using analogies, physical analogies, to try to help us understand it. But the idea is a spiritual idea, that literally we have two kinds of ruchot, two kinds of spirits. One is a happy spirit, one is a gloomy spirit or a depressed spirit. And so but both these spirits are winds, because that's also the word wind. Wind is also spirit. So wind is also what you blow into. Well, you think about the 5 levels of the soul. The lowest level of the soul is called the nefesh. That's the level of the soul that's literally residing in the guf. There's a level above that, which is called the ruach, which literally means wind. And it's like as if Hashem was blowing from a very high level through a big long tube, right? And that when that wind, when that spirit, when your part of your soul is coming down from Hashem and is being blown down through like a tube or through a musical instrument, that's the aspect of ruach, because it's like a wind, it's moving. And even higher than that is this level called the neshama, which is even higher, which is like it's like inside of Hashem's mouth, kilu, before he blows it out. So we have all these different levels, and I won't get into the other levels, chaya and yechida, because they're much more lofty and higher and much more difficult to sort of understand. But they also deal with the machshava. You want to create a musical note. You want to create this soul. So it's coming from your mind It's coming from deep within you. It's coming from your lungs. It's coming through your mouth. It's blowing out. That's ruach, wind, and then it finally resides as nefesh in the body. So that's a little bit of an analogy to understand what it means here by ruach. He's choosing the word ruach on purpose to help us understand that it's like a wind, and that's kilu, like the musical instrument blowing. It's going ayan sham. He says ayan sham. In other words, go if you want more details about this process, you'll have to learn Likutei Moharan 54. Now, this parenthetical statement or statement in brackets, the square brackets, is actually not written by Rabbi Nachman, or wasn't taught directly by Rabbi Nachman. It's actually a gloss or a note added by Rabbi Natan, who is literally the scribe of Rabbi Nachman, and he's writing it down, and he's adding his own sort of summary or perush on this concept. So in case you didn't read all that Torah in 54, he's like summarizing the essence of it. So these are actually the words of Rabbi Natan. What does he say? So the overall principle is as follows. Ki negina de kedusha hi gavoa ma'od ma'od kayadua. In other words, that's translated as holy music is very, very lofty, as is known. This is not something that just Breslov, right, teaches. This is something that's widely known throughout Kabbalah and throughout Chassidut. That holy music is like, whoa, a very, very high level. And this is what we're talking about. What is the root of holy music? The root of holy music is the nukudot tovot that we find in other people. That's what he's saying. When we find good points in each other and in others, what are we really doing? We're creating music. We're creating notes. And that's a very, very high level. And that's literally the root or the shorish of nigunim. Let's go on. The ikar hanigun naase alidei berur hatov min hara. The essence, right, of the melody is made through sifting out, sorting out the good from the bad. And that's what we talked about the past couple of times. If we just take a paintbrush and pretend everything about us and about everybody else is all good, we're not sorting out the tov from the ra. We're just painting a rosy picture that's not really, it's not realistic, and there's no emes to that. But when you recognize there is ra, there is bad, there is sins, there's avero, there's all kinds of stuff, there's all kinds of pagam, it's a mess. But you have to. That's why some people find it very difficult to do this avoda. It's a very difficult avoda to do. Why? Because you have to look at the dirt. Because where is the good? It's hidden in the dirt. So you have to pick up the grunge and separate and sort out, and then you extract out of it the good. There's no other way to do it. And so you have to be willing to get your hands dirty a little bit and see the truth about yourself, because it may not be pleasant. But in the end, the fact that you sorted out the good and you found the good points in yourself and also in others, that's how you create these nice notes, these nice melodies. Sha'al yedei shemevarim umelakatin hanekudo tovod mitok hara is what he's saying. The fact that you're able to sort out and select out the good points from the bad. Al yedei zeh na'aseh nigunim uzmirot ayin sham heitev. So he says, go study that really well. But the point is, you make two things, not just nigunim or melodies, but actually songs. And what's the difference between a song and a melody? A zimmer is a nigun with words. That's all it is. So there's two levels. One is at the very lowest level, you create nigunim. Where do these holy nigunim come from? They come from people who are able to really work at this very, very well and accomplish this task very well. Those people are pretty well the people who will create these beautiful nigunim that spread around, the Klal Yisrael. Very, very popular, wonderfully holy nigunim. Where do they come from? Basically, they're coming from these kind of people who are able to do this. And they're given this gift, because that's what's created. Not just nigunim, zmirot. So in other words, the ability, now that you've created this nigun, that now there's words, holy words added to this nigun. And then you have something incredibly lofty. Not only do you have a tune or melody that's a very holy melody. It's not the same as a melody coming from the goyim. It's not the same thing at all. It's a whole different thing. And it reaches into the soul and helps people do tshuva. Think about this. What do the goyim sing about? For the most part, you know, if you were to turn on radio and you remember when you were a kid, or maybe not so much you were a kid, maybe when you were 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, whatever it is, before you did tshuva, and you listen to all kinds of goyish music, what do they sing about? Almost exclusively, they sing about, well, on the, quote, happy side, I'll say that, happy side, they're almost always talking about some form of man-woman relationship, put it that way. And on the bad side, they're almost always singing about how that man-woman relationship gets messed up. That's all they sing about. But in other words, their melodies are coming from a complete Tuma perspective. However, the Jews who are keeping Hashem's Torah, they're creating melodies from a totally different place. What do they sing about? They sing about Hashem. Think about all the great popular Jewish melodies. They're always prayers and Tehillim put to Nigunim. So we see this. And it's because we're taught and trained to try to find the good in other people. Okay, that's section 1. And if you were to like summarize it, anybody want to like come up with 3 or 4 words to summarize the essence of paragraph 1? You know, if you don't want to, you want to listen, that's fine too. I wrote down, finding good points makes melodies. That's like the sort of title of it. By finding the good points, you make melodies. Section 2. Let's find out what this is about. V'alkein, alidei she'eino maniach lahapil et atzmo. Therefore, since you don't leave yourself or let yourself fall, and rather you give yourself life, that's the word, mechapesh umebakesh. There's the 3. Mechapesh umebakesh umotze. Right? By searching and seeking and finding ba'atzmo, ezed nukudot tovot, these good points, umelaket umavarer, you're going to collect them, sort them out. Elu ha-nikudot tovot mitoch hara. Seems a little bit repetitive, but he's making a separate point so you can figure it out. From the ra, veha solid, and from the garbage, shebo, that's all mixed in it, zechulu, canal. Aladeze nasin migunim. What's his main point here that he didn't make in the first paragraph? Oh, anybody? Be brave. Nobody wants to say it.
Mechapesh atzmo.
Right, atzmo. You have to do it yourself. And we mentioned this point the other day, but you can't just go to your friend and say, "Can you tell all my good points for me?" You can't do that. It's not. You have to literally get your hands dirty, and you got to go through the exercise, and you've got to go sort it out. So that's the big point in point 2. You have to do it yourself. And that's a choice you have to make. Nobody's going to force you to do it. But if you want to be happy, then hopefully you get over your issues and you'll do it. Okay, good. Thank you, Ari. Next section, section 3. Va'azai hu yachol litpalel u'lezamer u'lehodol Hashem, which means then you're going to be able to pray and to sing and to thank Hashem. This is good, because what does it also imply? What's the flip side? The flip side is if we don't work on finding the good points in ourselves and others, we won't be able to pray well. And you'll be able to sing well, and you'll be able to offer thanks to Hashem well. So you're going to stand there in Shemona Esrei, and you're just going to say, what am I doing? What am I doing here today? And in some cases, it's literally so difficult to open your mouth. Because why? Because we allow ourselves to get so depressed. That's when you fall down, when you really fall, like you said in the second paragraph, everybody falls. We all fall. But what did he say in the first line on paragraph 2? You don't let yourself, like, here it literally means that you don't let yourself fall, but I think it really means you don't let yourself stay fallen. You're going to fall. We're all going to fall. That's part of the process. You go up and you go down. Even if you don't fall, sometimes you're going to be pushed down. Either way, that happens too. Hashem sometimes literally does it. It's a separate Indian. Sometimes Hashem pushes you down. And because you have to have a Yerida to have the next Aliyah. It's part of the whole system. But you're not supposed to stay there. So when you're down there, and if you stay down there too long, you can end up not even being able to pray anymore. Forget about Shimon Esrei. Heat Bodedut. You know why people that can't do Heat Bodedut? I've talked to people, and that's like a pressed up thing. You guys think everything is solved by Heat Bodedut. Yeah, but have you ever actually done it? Have you forced yourself to sit down in a quiet place for an hour without any distractions, without your phone, your cell phone, or nothing, and talk to Hashem? I didn't really. Of course you didn't do it. You didn't. You know why you don't do it? I'm not talking like you, but pretending I'm talking to somebody. You don't do it because you have to face the music. That's an expression we say. Got to face the music. What does that mean, to face the music? It means look at the truth about yourself. And people who are having a very difficult time not being able to face emes, they don't live by emes. And as a result, there's no emunah. Remember, we said that you can't have emunah without emes. We learned that a couple weeks ago. A couple different sources show that. So you can't have emunah without emes. So if you don't look at emes in yourself, you can't face that. There's no emunah. So why would you do hipoteru? Because what? Because prayer is all about emunah. If you don't have emunah, why are you going to pray? It doesn't make any sense. Praying means you believe that there's something besides this physicality, besides derech teva. So if you don't believe that, because you don't have any emunah, then why are you going to pray? You're not going to do hipoteru, and you're going to come up with all kinds of excuses why you shouldn't do it, why it doesn't work. Of course, it doesn't work. It doesn't work for you because you don't have any emunah. So, and therefore, you literally can't pray, which means two qualities. I'm saying here, Shimon Esrei and Hibodru. And you can't sing, and you can't thank Hashem. Let's go on. Ki ze yadur she'adam nofel b'dato mechamat gashmiuto u'ma'asav hara'im. Just stop for a second. This is a beautiful point. He says, it is known that when a person falls in his dot because of his physicality and all the evil things he did, where do we fall? What is the cause of our fall? The fall is inside of our das. Because with basically almost every sin, it's a separate point, but you might want to make a note of it. Every single sin we commit is basically caused by a lack of das. And we say das. It's a lack of das. It's a lack of awareness. And I'm going to translate das as awareness. And a lot of people translate it as knowledge. Not knowledge. The chokhmah is more knowledge. It's like head knowledge. It's the wrong side. It's on the right side over here. Like chokhmah is like knowledge. You have knowledge. You know things. There's bits and pieces of information up there. There's Torah up there. And being over here is like understanding it and relating to it and feeling it. And das is right there in the middle. And das means having awareness of the present. And if we don't have awareness of the present, then we're going to sin. So the fundamental aspect of das, or awareness, is to know Hashem is here with me right now. Shiviti Hashem shenegdi tamid. We're going to hopefully get to that later on. That you place Hashem before you all the time. Shiviti Hashem lenegdi tamid. That's having das. Without das, we're going to fall. So that's why he says here. Let's read it again. This is Johnny. I just saw that Johnny is here with us. So we're in the notes, section 3. I don't know if you're reading it or not, but if you are, we're in paragraph 3, the first line, about halfway through the line. Ki ze yadua she'adam nofel b'dato machamat gashmiuto ma'asav ha'ra'im. When a person falls in his das, because he's physical, and he's like, all I ever do is sin all the time. All I ever do is sin all the time. And I'm so carnal. I'm so physical. I'm so gashmius. I'm so coarse. And he gets himself depressed and he falls. He sees he's really, really, really far away from kedusha in truth, like really, he's really far away from it, and he really is. Azai al piro, for the most part, eino yachol hitpalel kalal machmat zeh. He doesn't say it's not possible to pray here. He's qualifying his original statement. He's saying for the most part, you're not going to be able to really pray. To really pray, well, you maybe go through the words, you go through the motions. You can stand there and say 19 brachas, stand forward and say them in past 5 minutes or 4 minutes or 3 minutes, and then when it's all over, you don't even know what you said, because you were thinking about all these depressing thoughts. It's true. So it's because we allow ourselves to get absorbed in the negative of our lives. That happens. Maybe I'm the only one. I'm just talking about myself. Sometimes you can't even open your mouth. That's what he says. You can't even literally open your mouth at all. You just don't want to say anything. I got nothing to say. Because you're so down and negative. Because of the tremendous amount of sadness, the mara shchora, and the black bitters, which is just basically gloomy depression, the kavedut, and this heaviness shinofel that's fallen upon the person. We're going to sin. I mean, maybe you don't, but I do. Give you a secret. I sin. And so every time we sin and we think about it for a second, we have any kind of conscience, which we should, and we're good Jews, we should have a sense of shame, which we should, and that's good, then that's going to create a certain amount of sadness or depression. We're going to feel bad about what we did. But you can't allow yourself to get absorbed by it. You can't let that take over your life. You have to immediately say, okay, I'm sorry, I regret. Now, let me find the good point. Don't obsess about the bad point. Now, I'm talking to myself, Mr. Neurotic here. So, but that's why this is good, because it really works. Because you see how far you are from Hashem. Okay, so that's paragraph 3. What are the main take-homes for paragraph 3? When we go ahead.
Realize you did something wrong and move on.
Realizing you did things wrong and you move on. All right, good. Any other thoughts? I wrote down, when we do this, when we look for the good points, we're able to pray and to sing and to give thanks. So if you want to be able to sing and be happy and give thanks to Hashem and mean it, be grateful, and pray, actually pray, not just say the words, but actually connect, this is how you do it. All right. Paragraph 4. When somebody gives himself life by following this advice, again, you don't have to do it. You want to stay miserable, that's your choice. But if you're willing to follow the advice, and that's really, Rabbi Nachman does not teach mitzvah. The mitzvahs are taught. We know the mitzvah. Rabbi Nachman comes along and gives you advice. There's a whole book. What's it called? Eitzot. Advice. Just advice. Everything he writes, one way or another, is an advice. If you want to achieve a higher level of Kedusha, if you want to get happy, if you want to stop being depressed, if you want to connect to Hashem, if you want to overcome all your bad midot, etc., then how can he give all this advice? Because he accomplished this in his life in 38 short years, 3 and a half. So people who have achieved something, they can give over advice because they know what works. The Ramchal says, no, not the Ramchal. In Mesilat Yesharim, right? He writes there the same thing. He says it's like a maze, and you go into a maze, but somebody made it through the maze. This is this metaphor that Ramchal brings down, and he says that somebody made it through the maze. He's like in the middle. He made it. He's standing on a ladder or on something like, and you're like, I'm in this maze. I don't know how to get through this. He says, I'll tell you what to do. Turn right. Now, no, don't turn left now. Go straight through this intersection. And he guides you because he's been through it. The Ram calls the same thing. Menachem is the same thing. Rely on the tzaddikim. Don't try to reinvent what we don't know what we're doing. We're going like blind leading the blind. But if we go to the tzaddikim who know, been through the maze, who figured it out, and that's it. That's advice. You want to get through the maze, listen to what they say. You don't have to. But I know you guys all do because you're willing to listen to me for an hour. So you listen. If you're willing to do that, I know you really want to get somewhere. Okay, let's go on. Dahainu she'afapi sheyodea ba'atzmo sheyesh lo ma'asim ra'im v'chata'im harbe mod. Even though you know that you got all kinds of sins, bad things, harbe ma'od. Okay, that's that's a lot. And you're really, really far from Hashem. Again, you don't bring out the whip and beat yourself. It's just the truth. This is the truth. It's okay to face the truth. It's okay. Because the only way through healing is through truth. Like a doctor, some guy's sick, right? So he's got the only way to I don't know, he's in a war and he got shot. His leg is all gangrene. His only way to spare this guy's life is to cut his leg off. No, I don't want to do that. It's going to cause pain. I don't want to face it. No, sometimes you got to remove the whole thing. That's the way it is. Like with my mother. She got a number of years extra in life because they had to cut her leg off. In the end, she lost her leg, but she saved her life. So that's the truth. Face the truth. Eventually, when you're going to push it off until you literally, I have no choice. So we have a choice. We don't have to wait to that critical moment where everything is ready to blow up in front of our face. We can choose to recognize the warning signs long before that. And therefore, the quote medicine from the doctor or the fix, the tikkun, doesn't have to be that severe. You don't have to lose a limb. Okay. Even so, says it the same things again. Right, searching and seeking and finding the Atzmo himself, Adain still is a Nikudot Tovot Kanal. He still has to do it, even though he's fallen, he's looking at all he sees, all these terrible sins that he's done. Doesn't matter. Just start looking. And seeking, we said seeking, my understanding of seeking is you're asking Hashem for help. That's how you get life. We said this last time. You get life by that, you get vitality. You're not so depressed. You walk at people walking around. You can tell when somebody's depressed. They just move slowly and they move heavily and they shuffle their feet and they're hunched over a bit. You can spot it a mile away. Versus somebody who is happy, he's got life, he's got a bit of vitality to him. People don't want to be around depressed people. They just kind of like, you want to go away. I want to go away. When somebody's happy and joyful, it attracts people. Ki bevadai raui ha'adam lahagdil simchato ma'od b'chon nekudat tova mikedushat Israel shemotzei ba'atzmo adayim. It is fitting and it's proper, right, for a person that he increases his simcha ma'od a lot in every single good point from the kedusha of Klal Yisrael that he finds in himself. It's a beautiful statement. And we have a chiyuv, we have a responsibility to do that, to actually look for those good points in ourselves. Now when he gives himself this new life and he gives himself a certain amount of happiness he didn't have before, now we can pray. He says it again, pray, ulzoner, and sing, ulahoda l'Hashem, and give thanks to Hashem. So you have it all. So you have to. So this I wrote here for point 4, paragraph 4 is yes, we have to do it ourselves, but how? We have to choose whether we're going to follow the advice or not. So he says, if you follow the advice. And you were never going to be able to stop Yisurim from coming in upon us. They're always going to happen. They happen to tzaddikim, the most holy people in our country, in the nation. They have an onslaught of suffering and difficulties all the time to mechaper us and the whole nation. So even the greatest people are going to have trials and tribulations and suffering. So you can't get rid of that. Nobody can. All we can do is choose to follow Rabbi Nachman's advice or not. I highly recommend we do, because when we do, it works. Just do it and it works. All right. Any comments? That's essentially the main bulk. I've got some extra things I want to go over because it ties in nicely with this whole theme. But any comments or questions about this whole Torah?
Some king who had to go dip 7 times or whatever. It's like easy. It's nothing.
Naaman.
It's free, but you can't do it.
So my wife says, I couldn't hear her probably, but there was some king. I think his name was Naaman, but I may be wrong. Anyway, he was a foreign king. He was a non-Jewish king, and he went to I think Elisha or Eliyahu, but through Gehazi. Right? This is what my wife is saying. She's been reading Nach lately, so we rely on her memory here. Did you read it? Okay. Anyway, he had Tzarat, and he wanted to go to the prophet to get healed. He wanted to wave his hands over and do something special, and you're healed. And he didn't. I think that the prophet didn't even come out of the house. Just told his servant to just tell him to go down to the river here and go and do 7 toivels. That's it, 7 times. And he initially, what is it? I'm the big shot here, and he won't even come out to see me. There's no nice rivers back in my hometown, in my country. We got no better rivers than these dirty old rivers here in Eretz Israel. Just do it anyway. Just do it anyway. Okay, fine, I'll do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. Sauce is gone. Just do it. Don't try to figure it out. It's not logical. It works. That's enough. We should have. And it's free. It's free. That's good. You don't have to go to the doctor. You have to wait in lines and travel. How much money? How much time is spent by going to all the different doctors and the psychologists and the psychiatrists and all the drugs? Just do this. I trust you. Guarantee you, your life will become more lively. You'll get less sick, and eventually you'll be completely cured. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not giving you medical advice. But the point is that a merry heart makes the bones healthy, or something like that. It's a proverb somewhere, giving you an old English translation of it. But okay. Now, last time at the end, we had these 2 psukim. I want to bring them up again because they're lead-ins, something that Rabbi Natan writes in Likutei Halachot, which we're going to get to in the flip side of the page. So the first one is to remind us what it says in Tehillim Nun Zion. So if you want to write that, that's 57, verse 9. Ura kavodi ura hanevo bekinor ha'ira shachar, which literally translates as "wake up my kavod, my honor," but it means my soul, because one's kavod is one's soul. So David HaMelech wants to wake himself up. He wants to wake up his soul. Ura hanevo v'chinor, the navel and the kinor are 2 different kinds of harps. At least my understanding is. So in other words, how does he achieve this? Through music. Ha'ira shachar. Shachar is a very funny word. Well, first of all, it means what? It means I wake up the dawn. That's what it usually means. I'm going to get up before the dawn breaks. So you are literally waking up the dawn, because you're up, for chatzot. So you're up at 1:30 in the morning, and finally the sun starts coming up around 5:30 now. Right? 5:30 is around. Right? Yeah, I think so. And so you say, "Come on, son, wake up! Time to get up." You're waking up the dawn. Great. But shachar also means something else. Shachar also is the root of the same word as darkness, black, shachor. It's the same word. So really what he's also saying here is you want to be able to awaken the gloom and the doom and the darkness in your life and make the light shine from that gloom and doom. Music. You gotta wake up the music. And how do you wake up through the music? We already learned it by finding the good points. And when you do that, the best time to do it, before the sun comes up. All that is contained in those, whatever it is, 6 or 7 words. Basically, because if you want to wake up the morning, you got to get up before that. So you want to get up before while it's still dark. Literally, it's dark out. What does that darkness symbolize? Your own darkness, your own sins, your own averot. But look up in the sky, and you're going to see, what are you going to see in the sky? Even today, you can still see them occasionally, even in our cities with all the bright lights at nighttime. It's so irritating to me personally. But you can still look up in the sky. You can still see what?
The Iron
A
Dome.
few stars. Yeah, you can still see the Iron Dome. You can still see some stars. What are those stars in the midst of that night sky? Those are your good points. Those are the nukudot tovot in the midst of all that blackness. That's what they are. That's why you're supposed to do hipodot at nighttime. You're supposed to find your good points because you're literally looking at, you see, Hashem has painted the entire metaphor for you. He's giving you the whole mushroom in front of your eyes. There's nothing else to see. You look up in the sky and you see a few little white specks. But you know what? Those specks are your good points in the midst of all your blackness. But you know, when you get close to that good point, it's huge. It only seems like a little teeny speck because you're so far away from it. And that says you in your own mind, me, in my own mind, we're so far away from our good points. We don't really recognize what they are. We don't realize that it's an infinite goodness, that good point. So you get close, get a telescope, and zoom in on that, and all of a sudden you realize, wow, it's a star that's bigger than our own sun. Like our sun is a puny little sun. Some of these stars that you can see from your own naked eye are bigger than our own sun. They're so massive. That's your good point. It's that big. It's that huge. And even then, it's even bigger than that. So Orach chavodi, Orach haneva v'chinoah ha'ira shachar. Hopefully now you get a little bit of a feeling for the pasuk. So it's an awesome pasuk. Now the next one is from Shirim, in chapter 1. We also mentioned this last time. Just give me just the first few words. Shechor ani v'nava. I'm black but beautiful. See the same word. Shchora. That's the dark. That's the blackness. That's the same as shachar in the previous verse. But I'm beautiful. What's the black? Isn't the beautiful? The beautiful is inside the black. You got to peel away the black. The black is the klipa. It's just a klipa. Don't get absorbed by staring at klipot. Just peel it. Somebody gives you a nice, I don't know, a watermelon. Here's a watermelon. And you just look at it with sadness because you don't want to peel it. Just peel it. Take out a knife and cut it away. That's it, simple. Somebody give you a nice orange and you try to bite into the rinds. Ugh, it's disgusting. Yeah, because you're eating the peel. Just peel the peel. That's why it's called a peel, because you peel it. Okay, so inside is beauty. Inside us is beauty. We have to focus on the beauty, and believe me, you'll be so much happier. People want to be around you. You'll emanate joy to other people, and you'll help them. You don't have to say anything. No correction. Just your joy will naturally spread to other people, and that's how we fix the whole nation. That's how we create achdus. We learned a couple of weeks ago. All right, now turn over the page. And now we're going to see this expounded a little bit more beautifully in Likutei Halachot. Now, Likutei Halachot, again, just to review, was written by Rabbi Natan. My set of it over there is 8 or 9 volumes. It's like, this. It's a humongous work. And it basically goes through the Shulchan Aruch, 4 parts of the Shulchan Aruch. And it goes through all the halachas, almost all the halachas, and brings out the deeper spiritual meaning behind, here's what's mutter and here's what's, not mutter, what's all these things, forbidden, not forbidden, whatever. And he brings out the Hasidut in the halachas, brings out the Kabbalah in the halachas, he brings out the spiritual meaning in them, and helps you to realize, wow, this is like super deep. And so this is from Orach Chaim, which obviously, right, is the first part of the Shulchan Aruch, and it's from the halachas of getting up in the morning. Haskamat the Boker. This is almost the whole very beginning of the entire set of volumes called Likutei Halachot. It's literally the beginning. Section 1, and it's subsection 5. So he brings up another pasuk, V'zeu, and it's the one we already said, Tehillim 57. Ura chovri ura vuchulu. So I'm just going to explain what this means. So he's a wake up my soul, wake up, right? Wake up through the music and wake up the shachar. Now let's go on. How he explains this? Through what are we able to wake up? Because you're sleeping. That's why it's nighttime. And sleeping is an aspect of death, right? So it's 60th of death. Sleeping is an aspect of depression, because depression and death are related to each other. And so sleeping is an aspect of sadness. People who are very depressed, what do they not want to do? They don't want to get out of bed. They just lie around. That's why. The essence of the snake bite, meaning the Nachash, when he injected his Zuama into Chava and Adam Rishon, the essence of that bite was depression. And it's been that way all the way since. The fundamental essence of being bitten by the Nachash is this aspect of Mara Shachar, depression. So he says, how do we wake up? How do we wake up? Not physically waking up, but how do we really get out of this? Become alive again, wake up from sleep. Alidei ha'ira shachar, by waking up the shachar. We already talked about what shachar means. It doesn't mean necessarily the dawn. It means waking up the light inside of the darkness in our own lives. Alidei ma sha'ani me'orer ha'shachar, and by the fact that we can wake up the shachar. What does that mean? He tells us, Hainu hanakuda tova shehi b'chinat shachar. The good point. The good point is the aspect of shachar, because it's like the night sky. It looks dark, but inside the night sky is a whole little white little specks. And if you live in the country where there's no lights on, you can actually see all kinds of them. I think that's another reason why the whole Sitra Achra that influences a lot of this world, they want lights on everywhere, artificial lights on everywhere. Oh yes, there's a conspiracy that they want to be able to monitor us and all that stuff. Yeah, fine. But what's it really about? It's really about that they don't want you to see the specks of light in the dark sky. Now they may not know that that's what they're doing. To them, they want to be able to surveil you 24/7. But really, the Nachash doesn't want you to see the metaphor that Hashem put up in the sky for you every single night, to help you to remind yourself that you are filled with specks of white light. Not just you, but all of us.
That's why, like in Scandinavia, when it's dark for so much of the years, they say that people there are very depressed.
They don't have light. Well, they need to do Hibodadut, then they'd be good.
Yeah, because they have darkness for several months.
So I grew up in Canada, as is known, Kayadua, and being of my personality, as it is, we would have rain and fog, because I live on the Atlantic Ocean, right on the coast. So, the North Atlantic, fog, rain, mist, clouds, sometimes rain for like 3-4 weeks in a row. I just can't handle this. When I finally got old enough, I finished my university, and I said, I'm out of here. I got to move to a place where the sun shines. That's how I ended up in Texas for 12 years. So it's like, the sun shines. It's hot, yeah, but now here I am. The sun shines. It's awesome. Some people don't like the sunshine. Some people, literally, they want all those seasons. I don't want the seasons. I want the sun to shine every day. Because that's me. Because that helps me. I have this. They even call it sad, right? All right. So seasonal
Yeah,
seasonal
seasonal
affective disorder.
yeah, something like that.
Seasonal
Yeah,
affective disorder.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was like that
It's
too.
sad.
In 2000, my wife and I went to Alaska, and in October, and it didn't get it was dark, and like for most of it, like like it didn't get light for like only a couple hours. It's crazy.
Crazy. When we were in grade school, I remember we were visited by a bunch of Eskimos. Well, they call them Inuits now. It's much more polite. But anyway, they lived above the Arctic Circle. And so they were telling us, I mean, I was like, what, grade 3 or something. I remember this. Like, obviously, it was made a big impact on me. These two guys. What do you do all winter long? Well, I play ping pong, watch TV. And you wonder why so many people that live up there above the Arctic Circle, they're constantly depressed. Their alcoholism is rampant, drug use is rampant, and so on. Not where we need to be living. Anyway, let's go back here. Okay. So Rabbi Natan continues. Shechor ani v'nava. That's another pasuk, right, from Shir Hashirim, that I am black but beautiful. Al yedei zeh uchal hit'orer mishnati unefilati v'chulu kana. I'm able, through those, for finding those good points, I'm able to get myself out of sleep. I'm able to wake up, and I'm able to get myself from being fallen to standing again. V'zeu b'chinat ura hanevel v'chulu, which is the music. Ki al yedei zeh na'asin nigunim. See, so he ties the whole thing in. He's bringing this teaching from Rabbi Nachman and Reish Pebet, and he's bringing it in. He's bringing in some other psukim, which was not in the Torah Reish Pebet, but I just quoted them to you on the bottom of the page because I wanted you to understand what Rabbi Natan is going to write about. Skipping a little bit, but continuing on, he says, this is now the second little paragraph on page 2. Ki ikar hahit orut me Hashem. So the essence of this waking up and giving yourself life, or maybe arousal, self-arousal. That's another way to put it. I don't want that word arousal, self-arousal, to have negative connotations, but that's really what it means. It means to arouse yourself. Okay. Me Hashem. I think I said Hashem. Me Hashem, from sleep, rousing yourself from sleep, getting up. Hu al yedei b'chinat boker, the Avraham ish chesed. Oh, this is a beautiful thought. He says here, bringing another idea. Avraham, we have 3 prayers, right? We have Shachrit, Mincha, and Maariv. Well, we have Musaf, and whatever, and Nila, but we have 3 main prayers every day. Avraham corresponds to the first one. Yitzhak corresponds to Mincha, and Yaakov corresponds to Maariv, right? That's well known. Why does Avraham correspond to Shacharit? Because there's a pasuk that says so. He got up early in the morning, stood there as he was seeing what was going to happen to Sodom and Gomorrah. Yeah, but it's much more deeper than that, much more meaningful than that. Why? Because he's the one. He is Ish Chesed, right? It says there at the end of Sefer Micha. It says Titen Emes LeYaakov Chesed LaAvraham. Right? Hashem, you give truth to Yaakov, and you give Chesed to Avraham. Avraham is the man of Chesed. Where is Chesed? Kabbalistically speaking, where is it? It's on the right. It's this whole right arm, right? It's the right hand. It's on the right. This is Avraham over here. Yitzhak is over here on the left, and Yaakov is the whole torso. He's in the middle. Brings together both aspects, right and left. So he's saying this is the aspect of mourning. This is the aspect of Avraham, which is Ish Chesed. What is the Chesed of Avraham in the morning? I don't know. I see Chava there. I don't see Johnny. Okay. Johnny say he's also gone? I've been cut off. Sitra Achra, trying to make us different. Okay. Okay, so they're going to try to help him get kicked. Okay. No, it's good to know. Okay, so hopefully they're gonna let me know when it comes up. This is a really beautiful idea. Avraham is ish chesed. What is the most chesedic thing that you can do for yourself and for anybody else? Find the good point. That's what he's saying here. So what is that? That's directly connected to shachari. Shachar, shachor. It's all the same word, the morning prayer. He's going to get into this whole big thing about the morning prayer. It's not our point here. But the point is that this is an aspect of Avraham. When we find the good points in the morning, is an aspect of waking up, breaking through the dark, and doing an act of chesed. The greatest chesed we can do is for ourselves, finding the good in ourselves. All right, Johnny, good. The Hainu al-idei shemateh klape chesed. V'dan et atzmo l'chavsuchu. He has to tilt himself to the side of chesed. I'm going to tilt this way. This is my right side here. This, you tilt the chesed. Don't tilt the gevura, tilt the chesed. Tilting the chesed means you're finding your own good points, and you're done at atzmo l'chavsuchu. Do it every morning. Wake up before dawn every single morning, like David HaMelech says. Wake up the dawn. In order to wake up the dawn, you need to be up before the morning. Get outside, look up into the sky, remind yourself, no matter how messed up your life is, how difficult it is, how many people hate you, or all they want to do is insult you and disgrace you, and how life is tough, your bank account is empty, you're having problems with your wife, your spouse, your kids, right? Get outside before anybody else wakes up and look up and see a few stars. Honestly, I really mean it. Go look at the stars. And remind yourself, right, those stars are my good point. That's why I should put them there. What else is the point of having stars for? Oh, that's Orion and that's, what, Callisto. Who cares? They're there to teach us that they're us. Those sparks are the Kedusha in us and in everybody else. Remind yourself of it literally every single day. Okay. Ve'al Cain, Haya Avraham, Megayer Gerim. This is why Avraham was such a powerful converter of the Goyim. He had thousands and thousands and thousands of followers, and he was Megayer all kinds of people. Why? Ki haya mateh klape chesed. He was on the side of chesed. What did he do? And he found the good point in everybody. And that's how he was able to bring people to Hashem. That's what he did. He went out and he didn't correct me. Oh, you're doing wrong. You're doing wrong. He found instead the good point in all those people that were doing wrong. And he encouraged them. And he did exactly what Rabbi Nachman has to do here. By pointing out the good point, transfer them to the good scale, and then they have the tshuva. They do tshuva and they say, oh, I don't want to be an idol worshiper anymore. What can I do, Avraham? He said, I'll guide you. I'll guide you now through the process of conversion. You become part of the intimate family. That's what he did. So that's we want to influence people. Find the good points. So this little paragraph is teaching us that the morning is the optimal time for this. That's why of all the prayers in the day, you've got to start off right. Boker is chesed. Chesed means working on ourselves and finding the good points in ourselves. And get out of bed. Just get out of bed. Okay, last paragraph here in this section. This is the meaning of this pasuk in Tehillim 16. Shiviti Hashem lenegdi tamid ki mimini bal emot. So what does it mean? Literally means I place Hashem next to me, opposite me, all the time. Ki mimini bal emot. Ki, from my right hand, I will not waver. So where do you actually place Hashem? He says kenegdi, but then he mentions his right. Why did he mention his right? Why didn't he say, mi smoli balamo? I'm not going to waver from the left. No, I'm not going to waver from the right. Why? Because we just learned what is the right? It's the side of chesed. So the fact that he places Hashem in front, and by the way, what's the source of all the good points in him that he's found, all those little stars? It's Hashem, right? Because that's the spark of Kedusha in us is Hashem, mamash, right? Because we are a chelik elokah mimal. So every single good point we have is actually a chelik elokah mimal. It's a aspect, it's a portion of God Himself. So that means when it says Shiviti Hashem lenegdi, what are we doing? We're putting Hashem in front of us. Literally means put the think of the letters Yud K Vav K. But on a deeper meaning, it means what? It's looking at the good points. Because when you put Hashem in front of you face all the time, what is Hashem? He's good. What is the good points in you? It's Hashem. The good points in you. Oh, like somebody made a joke, I think. Like the good points in you is Hashem. So that's the deeper part of this pasuk. Shiviti Hashem lenegdi tamid means find the good points in you. And if you find the good points in you, it's as if you put Hashem in front of your face all the time. Ki mimini balamo. I'm not going to waver from my right. The right is where I need to be, on the right, on the side of Chesed. If I do that, I'll find the good points, and that's putting Hashem in front of me all the time. Going on, then we'll just see what Rabbi Natan wrote. Hainu shetamid ani mesim Hashem lenegdi. Always put Hashem, in front of me. Afilu ba madregot atachtonot chas v'shel. Even when I'm down low, even when I'm way down, I don't care. I can still put Hashem next to me all the time. Tamid, it says. So I don't know, it doesn't matter, Chava, whether you're physically left-handed or physically right-handed. It's a Kabbalistic idea that Chesed is always on the right hand, even to a left-handed person. Because that's the way it is. Chesed is on the right. Okay, but I don't want to go into I'm a left-handed, it's different. Like some things matter, whether you're left-handed or right-handed. Like, for example, if you put on tefillin, which you don't, but if a man puts on tefillin and he's left-handed, he puts on his tefillin on his right side, which is the opposite. We put on our left side, right? So a left-handed person puts his tefillin. So there are some laws that switch. Other halachas, they don't switch. This is one of the ones that doesn't matter. Chesed is on the right no matter what, all the time. Okay. Ki mimini ba'al amo. From my right, I will not falter. I will not waver. Ki alidei bechinat yamin. This is the aspect of the right. Bechinat Avraham, the aspect of Avraham. Bechinat chesed, which is the aspect of chesed, of loving kindness, being loving to yourself. From this, I will not waver. I will not falter. I will not fall over. I'm going to give myself an anchor. Okay, I just want to finish a couple of those last paragraphs. Stick with me if you can for another 5 minutes, please. Okay, the last bit is a little bit further down in Likutei Halachot. Again, in Orach Chaim, also the laws of getting up in the morning. It's instead of section 5, it's a little extract section 6. Bob. Another pasuk in Tehillim, which is in 77. Also another pasuk from the Tikkun Klali set. Ezkara niginati balayla. I will remember or make mention. Not sure which exactly is the right translation, but I will remember niginati balayla. I will remember my niguns, my melodies in the night. Why? Because you were up in the night singing. That's how you get. How can you possibly remember some melody you had in the nighttime if you never had a melody in the nighttime? Obviously, you must have had some melody in the nighttime. So we learned where these melodies came from already. We've already learned they come from finding the good points. Im levi asicha. So with my heart, I will converse. I will talk. I will. And it says it doesn't say libi, but it says levavi. This is the double heart. Right? There's two vavs. Right? He could have just said im libi asicha, with my heart. He doesn't. He says im levavi, with both of my hearts, meaning the right side of my heart and even the left side of my heart. The left side of my heart is where all that sitra achra stuff is. Even there, in the midst of all that mess, you got to go in and find the good. Not just finding the good on the easy stuff, but find the good in stuff that's difficult. Vaychapes ruchi, and my spirit searches. So we already talked about this spirit searching. Shibalayla v'choshek, that in nighttime and in darkness, bichinat shena, which is the aspect of sleep, then it is with my heart I will start talking, searching and investigating. My spirit will do that, and I'm going to find the good points. Shani mechapes mekakesh haruach tova. I'm going to find this good wind, this good ruach, which is again the blowing out of your mouth, good points into the kli zemer, into the musical instrument to make the tune. That's the good point. Wrap it up. That's how melodies are made. I'm going to remember all these tunes that I had in the nighttime. So it's just, I don't know, hopefully something happened. And if you're not used to doing this, I really encourage you to do it. It doesn't matter if you're male or female. This is something that we all need to do because we all need tikkun. We all need to be fixed. And we all need to spread love and kindness and chesed to each other because believe me, the world is plenty filled right now with all kinds of depression and sadness and fear and anxieties. And everybody's freaking out at everybody. So we need to be the lights. We need to be the examples. Okay, what does Johnny say here? Johnny said, I wish you could all come here and see the stars. And we have no light pollution right out in the country because he lives in the country in Ireland. So I was like, whoa, it's like, yeah. I used to live in the country in Nova Scotia. And I remember it was just great. You literally see, you can see all the constellations. You see the Milky Way. It is great. Awesome thing. Here I can see Orion. I can see a little bit of Taurus. I mean, Jupiter is the main bright star right now in the sort of eastern southeastern sky. You can see Jupiter. It's the brightest light. Anyway, right. So I'm just looking at the notes here, at the comments. Great evening. Great. So that's it. So anybody else want to make a final comment before we sign off? You got to get down. Well, you have to. I'm not gonna. Huh? No, I'm not gonna go there. Okay. Well, somebody else said something here. I know Gula's come when all the lights go out and we feel safe. And Johnny, thanks so much. Okay. All right, that's it. Okay, great. Everybody take good care of yourselves till hopefully next week. Have a great week.